now at our local venue where I'm going to pick a couple of pumpkins, sugar pumpkins, to take back to our place. And what we're going to do, we're going to make pumpkin spice cream cheese pie. Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making for you today is pumpkin spice cream cheese pie. This is my favorite time of the year because you can get so much good fresh pumpkins, fresh vegetables, you name it, and all local. So today what we're going to do is show you how to make your own pumpkin pie, but straight from scratch, from roasting the pumpkin in the oven to blending it up and making this beautiful pie. So what we're going to start with first is showing you how to make your homemade crust. Okay, so what we'll do first, we'll put 2½ cups of flour into our bowl. We're going to be using ½ teaspoonful of salt, and if you're going to be using salted butter, you could eliminate the salt, but I got unsalted butter, so, and that's 3/4 cup of fresh butter. So we put all of that in there first and blend it. Now if you've got a food processor, you can put all this into that and that will blend it up quicker. But I'm just going to make this dough from scratch here now, and so you just pinch it all together until it's all blended. Okay, so after you've blended the butter in through, broke it all down, put in ½ cup of cold water, and again keep blending it through. If you need to add a little bit more water, that's fine. It's just until we form the dough into a ball. Okay, so after you got everything blended in together, you can take the dough out now onto your countertop and whatever extra is there, and you just work it a little bit more. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to separate this into 2 separate pieces, one big piece and one little piece. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece aside, and this is the piece that we're going to roll out now for our pie crust. So pretty much what I'm doing here, and if you don't want to go to the trouble of making your own, which I don't know, it's more rewarding to me when you make your own. You could buy just an already made pie crust, and then you can just bake it afterwards. But we'll start with this first, and then what I'll show you after is how to take all of the pumpkin remains out and how to scoop out the pumpkin. Okay, so this looks like it's rolled out enough. So what I'm going to do is pre-grease my pie pan. So you can put a spray on there. I'm just going to put butter and get that ready so we can put the pie crust into it. So I'm just going to take it up, put it down over the pan like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just pinch off the ends. So I'm just pinching my fingers together like this to make a nice fancy edge on this pie, and at the same time I'm taking the remainder of this dough away. So just continue on going like that. Okay, so this is what your pie crust is going to look like, and I'm just going to put it to the side there now. What we're going to do before we get started on the pumpkin, I want to make a few decorative pastry characters for the top. So we'll do a pumpkin and a couple of leaves, and the reason why I'm doing it all now is because once I put the dough away, we can focus on other things. So we'll continue with that. I'm just going to roll this out lightly, and one would say, how are you going to make the pumpkin shapes? You're going to have to get creative on that yourself, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, of course, this is optional if you don't want to do this, but basically you're just going to cut little circles for your pumpkins. Your pumpkin is going to look something like this, cutting out the eyes and the nose, and the leaves is going to look like this, and they're only going to be baked just a little bit in the oven, maybe for about 10-15 minutes till they start to get golden brown. So you just go like this, and after we bake them, I'll show you what they look like on the pumpkin. But that's pretty much what you would do. Just cut out the nose and the mouth, and that will make the little shapes for the top of our pie. Okay, I know you're getting anxious there. You want to get into that pumpkin to see how it goes. But I want to do it in stages. The crust first, then the cream cheese, because that's my next layer. So I'm going to show you now. We're going to have a pack each of cream cheese, and I got it cut into cubes. I got 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar, which is a powdered icing sugar. And we're going to blend this together with my blender, but I just want to put some of the sugar in to the cream cheese so it don't fly everywhere. Okay, so this is coming along nice there. I'm only using the wooden spoon right now. A teaspoonful of vanilla. You can go real vanilla, or you can use vanilla extract. So you mix that in, and a tablespoonful of evaporated milk. So we blend that all together. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is start blending this together. And that's about it. Now, that's good. Now if I had my grandkids here to give them a scoop, one of those blenders scoops each, so they can clean off for me. Now what we're going to do is take our cream cheese, blend, and put into the bottom of this pie pan. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so let's just scoop up the cream cheese mixture and put into the bottom of this pan. So you're just going to smooth it around like this, evenly all around the bottom. Okay, so now we got the cream cheese put in our pie filling, so that's done. Now I'm going to show you how to carve out the sweet pumpkin, and the sweet pumpkin is used for making pumpkin pies, and then I'll show you what's next. So first what we're going to do, you need a sharp paring knife, and then pull it right down the side of your pumpkin and all the ways to the other side. And before you do this, you must make sure that you got your pumpkin washed and dried off, because you don't want it to slip out of your hands. And then go on the other side and do the same and meet up with that cut. Okay, so I'm going to take my knife out and pull this apart. Of course, this is what it looks like on the inside. Everyone knows what a pumpkin looks like, but I'm just showing you. There's just a little one. You need to cut off this stalk. You don't need that on there. And just break it off and put it to the side. I'm going to be scooping out the inside, and of course, after cleaning all of this meat away from the pumpkin seeds, and then we're going to be roasting them in the pan to have with our pumpkin pie, because you can add some pumpkin spice with it. Okay, so that's the half side, and what you're going to do then after you scooped everything out, you're going to put it upside down on a piece of parchment paper and a cookie sheet to get ready to bake. I'm going to scoop out this one, and then I'll tell you what else we're going to do. Okay, so we got this one scooped out and all of the remains in there. I'll put that in my compost. Just take the pumpkin, turn it upside down onto that pan. I got a few pumpkin seeds there. I'm going to dash some pumpkin spice inside there. Just stir it around. Put all the pumpkin seeds onto the same pan that the pumpkins are on. And then what I'm going to do now is put those pumpkins into the oven on a 350 degree of heat for at least 1 hour. Okay, so when the pumpkin is ready after 60 minutes, you take it out. It looks something like this, and this is the seeds, pumpkin seeds, all roasted. And they're absolutely delicious. And this is what your pumpkin looks like on the inside. Now what we're going to do is scoop all of that meat out, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so we're going to scoop all of this delicious meat out of there and put over into my strainer. Don't take the skin on the outside, just all of the pumpkin on the inside. So continue doing it with the second half of that sweet pumpkin. And what I'm going to do there, it's going to stay in this strainer for a few hours because you want to get all the juice out. You don't need that, and it will run down into the bowl that's in under it. You can keep the juice to put into your soups or into something you're baking, muffins, or you can discard it. Pretty much this is all you need to do to scoop out the pumpkin. Okay, so pretty much what you can do then is just flatten down the pumpkin and put a plate on the top because you want to use it as a weight. And if you got something heavy, I'm just going to use this candle roller, put it on the top of it, and that would quick release the juice from that pumpkin, because when you go to make your pumpkin pie filling, you don't need all that juice. And I got one that's already done that I'm going to show you. So this is what your pumpkin filling looks like, or your pumpkin meat looks like after it's drained. You can see it's all the moisture is gone out of it. So I showed you how to carve it by cutting it, getting it ready to go in the oven, and that takes 60 minutes. Showed you how to scoop it out after it come out of the oven, and now I'm going to show you how to make your pie filling. Okay, so what we're going to do first is put a cup and a half of pumpkin meat into a bowl, and I'm going to blend it for a couple of minutes with my handheld blender just to break it all down and to blend it in. Okay, we're going to be using a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoonfuls of flour, just pour it all in. We're going to be using a half a teaspoonful of salt and 1 teaspoonful of ginger and a teaspoonful of cinnamon, half a teaspoonful of nutmeg, and 1/8 of a teaspoonful of pepper. We're going to be using 1/8 of a teaspoonful of cloves. So you mix all that in there, and we're just going to stir it around with our spoon. The smell of all these spices is absolutely delicious. We're going to be using now 1/4 of a cup of evaporated milk and 2 large eggs. And pretty much that's all you need. So what we're going to do now is just mix this around and blend it all in together. We don't need to over mix it, just to get it all blended. And you can add in more spices if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I love it nice and spicy. Okay, so pretty much this is what your texture is going to look like. And all of those spices we've put in there today is pretty much a pumpkin spice. And you can get the blend. You can use this, or you could use all of those spices I just showed you there. So what I'm going to do now is pour all of our mixture in on top of all this cream cheese. Okay, so what we're going to do now is pour all of this pumpkin mixture into this pie crust on top of the cream cheese, and that looks absolutely delicious. We're almost at the end stage of our pumpkin pie, getting it all prepared. We're going to be putting it in a 350-degree oven for at least 50 minutes to 1 hour. At the 50-minute mark, you're going to check it and just poke a knife in through to see if all of it's cooked. If it comes out clear, then you know it's baked. If not, leave it in for the other 10 minutes. So meet me back here when it's baked. Welcome back to Bonita's Kitchen, and our pumpkin spice cream cheese pie is now baked. So I started out my pie on 350 degrees, and then halfway through I put it up on 375, and I added in our little decorative toppers for our pie. And like you said, this only needs 15 minutes, but you'll definitely need 50 minutes to an hour for your pie. And you can check it part ways through, put a knife into it. If it comes out clean, it's good to go. If it comes out, it's got a little bit more pumpkin on it, you could keep it in for another 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is put this to the side and show you a couple of more things. While I'm waiting for our pumpkin pie to cool down a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about the pumpkin that we scooped out to let all the juice go off it. You can see the juice in the bottom of this pan, and it's still tons that's going to come out. You need to leave this overnight. If you're making your pumpkin pie, make sure all of the liquid, as you can see, is out, and then after you will have a nice firm meat from the pumpkin. And then if you don't use all of your pumpkin that you scooped out, you can get a freezer bag and individually wrap in a plastic 1.5 cups, and that's how much it takes to do your pumpkin pie, and put it in there individually, label it, date it, and you can take this out anytime and make yourself a pumpkin pie or pumpkin muffins. So what I'm going to do now is show you what I'm going to decorate the top of the pie with these little pumpkins that we made out of the pastry. This pie is now making me hungry because it smells absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is put the little pumpkins, I made 8 of them. So I'm going to cut this pumpkin pie when I get started there in 8 pieces. So I'm going to put 8 of the pumpkins right around, so that each person that gets a piece will have a pumpkin. And with the leaves, I'm going to put them in the middle like this and just kind of decorate the inside with this. Now you can do any kind of a decorative pastry. I mean, you could make whatever you would like. If you can make a witch, just fine. But I'm not that creative when it comes to this sort of thing. But I just want to show you what you could do with the extra pieces of pastry, and it'll look something like this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out a piece of pumpkin pie to show you what it looks like on the inside. Okay, normally you'll wait until your pie is totally cold before you do this, because this would be called just crazy. But I can't wait because I need to show you what this delicious pie looks like on the inside. Okay, here it goes, you guys. And this is what the inside of it looks like. You can see the steam actually coming out of there. So as they would say, don't try this at home. You want to wait until your pumpkin pie is totally cold before you do it. But just look at this. Isn't that absolutely delicious looking? Okay, I'm going to put a nice dollop of cream on the side. Okay, so that's the whipped cream on there, and you could use any kind. You could make it yourself or you can buy it in the stores. And now I'm going to toss some of our pumpkin seeds that we toasted over and around and on the table everywhere, and this is what it looks like. And because I like a little bit extra spice, I'm going to put a little bit of pumpkin spice over the top of my pie. Well, this is as good as it gets, you guys. You can make this for your Halloween, or you can make it any time of the year, but this is how quick and easy it is. I hope you found this episode of Bonita's Kitchen for pumpkin spice cream cheese pie helpful today. And if you haven't already done so, visit us on YouTube and please subscribe. Just go up at the top right hand corner, hit the link, and it will prompt you to what you need to do. You can also visit us on www.bonitaskitchen.com, our Facebook page, and on Twitter. So thank you for joining us once again for Bonita's Kitchen. From my kitchen to yours, you have a wonderful day.